6 African countries and some parts of Europe and Asia. And welcome aboard. Well, I don't know what is bothering you this morning. I'm going to be picking your minds as to what is bothering you this morning. What is bothering me is that over the past year, we've seen the increment of fuel prices for as many times as possible, but nobody seems to be talking about it. Nobody is talking about it. And it's quite strange how we have decided to be mum about the increment in petroleum prices. We need to talk about it. We need to bring that to the attention of the average Ghanaian. We need to let them know the impact that this will have on businesses, the impact that this will have on services, the impact that this will have on transportation, etc. Now, you do know that particularly for people who are in the business of agriculture, once they produce their products or once they harvest their products, they have to transport it somehow to the central business district to be able to sell and make an income for themselves. Now, what this means is that with the increment of the petroleum prices, it means that that particular cost will be added to production. That particular cost will be added to services. That particular cost will be added to consumption, and that is a problem for all of us here in this nation. Now, for a government that, you know, trumpeted the fact that they were not going to be increasing taxes, they were not going to be increasing fuel prices, etc. It's very strange that this is happening at this material moment when we are, the world over is ravaged with coronavirus. I mean, even if it's on a decline, the residuary of the impact will forever be felt. And it's very surprising that this time, where we need the support of government has decided to, first of all, introduce new taxes and to also increase the prices of petroleum products. And it's very, very, very strange. I want to pick your minds this morning. The phone lines will be activated shortly. I want to know what you're thinking. We need to take it to government. We need to take it to government. We don't need to insult. No, I don't want any insult on the show. But we need to speak to the authorities. We need to speak truth to them. We need to let them know that, listen, this is not a time for you to be playing, with the adjustment of petroleum prices, for instance, etc. Generally, things are very difficult in Ghana. Honestly, things are extremely difficult. Let me, just by way of education, share with you what I'm talking about. So trends of fuel price changes in Ghana from January to March, this January to March 2021. So on the 1st to the 15th of January, petrol... Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you, sir? What's your name?
I am Moses Azure.
And where is Moses calling me from?
From Malaga.
Moses, what is on your mind this morning? What is bothering you this morning? Mine has got to do with the increment in the petroleum prices. I don't know what is bothering you this morning. What is bothering you? Tell me.
My brother.
Yes, sir.
We are actually in a mess. I remember Prof. Lumumba say that when you elect hyenas to take care of goats, they would surely eat them. And this is exactly what is happening in Ghana. It is time for us to call a spade a spade. Those who are claiming to be leaders, they are indeed. In fact,
I don't know what's happening with the phone. Can you reposition yourself well, or can the technical guys check on the sound, the quality of the sound? It's a little bit muffled. But if you can hear me, can you proceed? Because I'm enjoying your line of thought. Please go ahead.
Yes, Kwame. Yes, Kwame, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Please proceed.
Can you hear me? Kwame, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yes, yes. I was saying that it is time for we, the young Ghanaians, who don't want to be polluted by these so-called leaders, so-called hyenas that we elect to lead us. These people who are eating us, we have to wake up now. We have not met, majority of us have not met Nkrumah. We have read the legacy. We have seen the vision. And these people, I mean, the Tahinas that we are now, I'm talking about, the Tahinas we have now, call our leaders, want to pollute our minds, want to rewrite the story. And in fact, if you lose your identity, that is the greatest thing you can ever done to yourself. You are lost completely.
Right.
And this is what our so-called leaders claim to be leading us, claim to be doing to us.
Right.
Those who are
for want of
our
time,
leaders now,
yeah. For want of time, and to allow other speakers, for want of time, to allow other callers to also call in.
Yeah,
if
I can get your digit, if I can get your digit, your personal digit, I'll be glad.
Right, I'll do that. You can send me a message on Facebook, Kwame Owusu Danso on Facebook. I will respond to that and give you, my contact, and then we can have an extensive conversation. But perhaps I might invite you to the studios. Who knows? To come and share with us. It's important to pick the minds of Ghanaians sometimes, and I know that my friend Sakasalia will not be happy with what I'm about to say, but I'll say it regardless. I mean, listen. When it was Mohammed's time, and we have a nation to build. I don't like the way we pick our cherries. We pick and choose what suits us, right? But when it was during Mohammed's administration, we went hard on Mohammed. We criticized him for certain decisions that his administration took, for even some loans they contracted or they procured, some increment in taxes, etc. You recall, I mean, the corporate taxes and all of that. We bastardized them, we criticized them. But what has changed? I mean, I don't know whether Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo is a demigod, because it appears that nobody seems to be talking about it, and I'm surprised. I know that Saka will not be happy with me this morning. I know that, but I don't need approval from Saka or any other person who supports the MPP or is a sympathizer of the MPP to speak the truth. Hi, good morning. Can the sound guys check the sound? It's really muffled. I can hardly hear my beautiful people. I can't hear them. Can the sound guys work on the sound, please? I want to listen to my beautiful viewers. Please, let me hear from you, sir. What's your name? Where are you calling me from?
Yeah, I'm Martin calling from Arimina.
Oh! Edina.
Yeah, Minabaji.
What's in then?
Boko.
I had papa. Mangas, I remember hot 27th. Aye, to me, Bani is here.
But I think I make sure the boys
in your. Well, okay, so what do you have for us this morning?
Yeah, I just want to talk about the fake boost issues, which nobody wants to take responsibility.
Can somebody check the sound for me? I am struggling.
It is really an indictment and really disgrace to the nation, and even the Ministry of Education, which no one wants to take responsibility of it. Meanwhile, they are all aware of such books, and they don't want to take responsibility of it.
You mean the book that is circulating on social media?
It is really an indictment to them. So they should take necessary action and take the blame that their actions and inactions call for that. And it is intentional, and they want to ridicule some part of the country.
Right. I know.
As it started during the election, before the election.
Right.
They want to discriminate people from being Ghanaians.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for your call this morning. I'll see you on the 27th of March. That's, I think, about 2 weeks from now. I'll see you. I'm coming for my grandmother's burial service at Bantama, Elmina. So I'll see you definitely on the 27th. Those of you who are in Elmina and its environs, you can come to Bantama to help me bury my grandmother, in style. My panelists are getting ready for the show this morning. And like I was saying, I mean, I don't want to say anything to please anybody. Okay, sir. What's your name, sir? Where are you calling me from?
Yeah, this is Azure back again.
Where are you calling me from, sir?
From Bolga, Yorko.
Bolga, all right. Let's hear you.
Yes. Kwame, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir. Please proceed.
Yes, Ghanaians. I want to ask Ghanaians, when will we wake up to the call of paying people for no work done? When will we stop telling people or hailing people who to actually be held to account? When will we realize that what we are doing, we are being wicked to ourselves? When will we wake up to realize that Ghana is retrogression? And when we get up to ask ourselves, we came to meet money, we came to meet power, but what do we have to offer? So that when we are gone, people will remember us. When we have been in this country, when people, decisions that actually brought Ghana back, we are not talking about that. We are hailing them. We are queuing and voting for them. Kwame, let me tell you this. I voted and voted for Nana. Use my own accumulation. Let me tell you this. To campaign for Nana because I thought he was going to leave a legacy. That was my reason. But I am saddened. I am disappointed, disgusted with the leadership of Nana.
Thank you very much. Objectivity is all we preach.
The truth.
Because it appears the future is a little bleak. There are too many uncertainties. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And until and unless we stop being stooges of political parties, we will never go anywhere in this nation. We have a nation to build. We have posterity to protect. But it appears that, you know, we are letting our political colorization blind us to the realities. And we necessarily must take a step back as Ghanaians and look behind the curtain and find out whether or not we're doing things that will bring about proper development for ourselves and for generations yet unborn. Well, I am done. Okay, well, final caller this morning. Final caller, I nearly just... Hi, good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling us from?
Yeah, good morning. I'm Sally Adams. Calling from Wa.
Wow, oh, wow, fantastic. You have a Wala man here. Let's hear you. What are you thinking? What's in your mind this morning, sir?
Yeah, mine has to do with, I'm a teacher by profession.
I beg your pardon?
So mine has to do with the textbooks.
Oh, the textbook, all right.
And we're
that's what's on your mind. Okay, all right.
To take them to be able to teach.
Okay.
Let's assume I was a policeman. Or you tell to go to the market and buy his gun to protect the citizenry. Or you tell the military man to go to the market and buy a gun to protect the citizenry. Just put yourself in that shoe. It means that I'm going to use whatever material that I will have available to teach. If I'm not able to download anything on the net. Consider some of the communities we teach. You get there, you won't have access to network. And they expect you to download material there to teach. So how will you teach? Why is Ghana going at all? Thank you very much.
Thank you very kindly for your call this morning. That's about it for the callers. Thank you all of you for sharing your thoughts with me this morning. What bothers you bothers me as well. And I am also not happy with the NDC, particularly because they think Abangbabi should be serving their interest as opposed to the interest. I mean, come on. We have a nation to build, Otale. No time to stop and pick cherries and be throwing pebbles at people. We need to progress. Let's come together and build this. Whether you like it or not, the elections are over. You need to plan and prepare for the next elections. And that's what matters, really. It's not about what Abangbabi decides to do or not. That's my personal opinion. I mean, anyway, so my partners are here. I don't know why Gabriela Tete has not been mic'd yet. I'm surprised. Or she's eating. Well, Gabi doesn't joke with her breakfast. It's very important. Even me, I need breakfast. Even me, I need breakfast. So I'm waiting for Jar Reigns to bring us our regular breakfast, and then I can also enjoy myself on the morning show. But Hadia Hamdat Ibrahim is here sitting. Good morning to you, Hadia.
Good morning.
And you're beautiful. What color is that? Is that yellow? I'm color blind though. But is that purple or move? Anyway, whatever it is, Hadia is looking beautiful. Good morning, Hadia. And I love your black nose mask as well. It's complementing your Hadia, you the shadow. You make Saka look so useless. You know,
God.
in terms of dressing. Saka, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm cool.
I trust you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm
Saka,
good.
you look good too.
Yeah,
Not in terms of your dressing, but your face.
Oh, yeah.
You look fresh.
God is good. God is good.
Oh, of course. I'm sure some appointment has happened. Yeah, finally.
Oh, no appointment has happened, but I appointed myself.
Well, I think
as some people will say, that if you are drawing a circle to
you have to do yourself.
So that's Saka.
Interesting. I think Saka should move to the next seat so Gabriella can sit in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Saka can do
She
that.
hasn't come yet, so.
Well, she's coming. So Saka and his Daibo. Well, Gabriella, Saka just needed for the world to know that you are late. I know. Right, whilst they get themselves ready for our conversation this morning, I think it's imperative to share with you, the viewers, what our topics are for today. We're definitely touching on an African story, and today we're going all the way to East Africa, where Uganda's opposition leader Bobi Wine has been detained. Uganda's opposition leader Bobi Wine has been detained. We will find out more, but you should know clearly that Yoweri Museveni is not joking in Uganda. Any opposition will be crushed. So we should count ourselves lucky in this part of the world, you know, for demonstrating to the rest of the world and Africa that when it comes to democracy and successive governments, right, we are the torchbearers and we are the trailblazers. I mean, this cannot be said for Uganda and most of the East African countries, actually. In fact, most of the African countries, it cannot be said. Right, so fuel prices bite hard. Fuel prices bite hard. That's on the front page of the Inside newspaper. And this is precisely what I put forward this morning before I picked the calls. It's quite strange. It's quite interesting. Nobody seems to be talking about it. We are going to be talking about it. We need to speak for the Ghanaian people. Investigate inappropriate textbooks. Inappropriate textbooks. This is captured by the Daily Guide newspaper. I belong to no one. Bagman backs at NDC. This is also on the front page of the Daily Guide newspaper. Today it appears my producers are in love with Daily Guide this morning. Almost all the stories are from Daily Guide. Don't have no issues with that though. Yeah, so yeah, well, I think you should bring me my coffee again because Saka took the first one. So bring me another one. Anyway, so we're going all the way to Uganda too. I mean, you have traversed, you know, the continent. Particularly for women's projects and women's conferences, etc. Does it come to you as a surprise, as, for instance, a fallout from Uganda's elections, where Yoweri Museveni won with some landslide margin?
It's 59%.
Yeah, well, it's still landslide. It's still landslide. I mean, it's still landslide. I mean, particularly when everybody thought, including myself, that Bobi Wine was going to be a game changer. That Bobi Wine represented the current generation and therefore spoke their minds and was going to win the votes. But unfortunately, as fate would have it, Museveni emerged victorious. Now, I mean, look, the fallout from that is really very unacceptable. I mean, he was detained in his home for close to about 2 weeks. Without, you know, access to to go and buy groceries, etc. The inhumane treatment and all of that. Now we're learning that he's been detained again.
I think he has been released.
I beg your pardon. Let me just read the story.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's important that we understand why. So Ugandan opposition leader Bobi Wine was briefly detained on Monday as he took part in a protest in the capital Kampala against the detention of his supporters, according to the post on his Twitter page. The 39-year-old opposition leader last week called on Ugandans to rise up peacefully and unarmed against President Yoweri Museveni, who won a sixth term in office following disputed elections in January. Now, Bobi Wine, who has disputed the results of the presidential election, managed to win 35% of the votes, while the incumbent president was declared the winner of the January 14th polls with 59% of the vote. Earlier this month, he presented files he claimed showed he was the real winner, Al Jazeera has not been able to verify the evidence he has presented. About 15 members of parliament and activists from Bobby Wine's National Unity Platform political party wearing business suits and red ties took part in the brief protest, which was quickly halted by police officers and soldiers. Bystanders cheered in support of the small group of protesters, but did not join the demonstration itself. Bobby Wine arrested as he led MPs and other leaders. So yeah, that's about it. It appears that the charade goes on. Adia.
Yeah, good morning, Kwame, and good morning to Gabi and then Saka Salia.
Yeah, Adia.
And good morning to our cherished viewers out there. Kwame, you said something. I was just nodding my head, you know. When you said Bobby Wine, people thought he was going to be the game changer. And if you know the history of Uganda, which Yoweri Museveni as the head,
Unless he dies.
Bobby Wine and co will only make the noise, maybe some small impact, but to take the leadership of the country from Yoweri Museveni, I think it would have been a very, very Herculean task, which they really faced. But for me, demonstrations and protests are legitimate.
Yep.
And if people are expressing their views or their frustrations through demonstrations, and then you go and stop them, arrest them, but I think later on they were released. And you could see the kind of leadership Bobby Wine was exhibiting by encouraging the people to demonstrate and thanking the people who came out to demonstrate. Even though they were arrested, I think later they were released.
Released, yeah.
But I don't understand. You are the president now. You have the control of...
Why are you still arrested?
Why are you still arresting and maybe you fear? So which means, Bobby Wine, what he's saying about the elections, there's some kind of truth in it. Because now he has presented some documents. Now, are we going to get an independent body outside Uganda to investigate and see? You see, that is where I have a problem with AU. They pat each other on the shoulder, drink their coffee as you are taking yours this morning, and then matter finish. Meanwhile, the internal, even though every country is a sovereign, you don't have to interfere. But if there is a problem, by all means, other countries will send troops to go and maybe help to bring sanity and peace in that country. So for me, Yoweri Museveni, he shouldn't do that and end badly. Because if you are treating suppressing your people, you don't allow them to feel free, you don't accept any divergent view, yours is final, and whosoever raises any concern, the person is arrested and detained. I think it is not good for the democracy in Africa. Whatever it is, people also have the right to demonstrate. People have the right to express their views. But anytime people express their views, then you go and be arresting them. What do you fear? It was a peaceful demonstration. Nobody was attacking anyone, and you could see that people were cheering them up. They didn't join because of the fear of intimidation and arrest. Because some people were arrested some time back. Maybe they didn't see their homes for so many days. They don't want to repeat it. So some kind of fear has been put into the people of Uganda in such a way that they even find it difficult to come out and express their frustrations through demonstration. So I think that is not good enough. You know, if we keep on suppressing people, the day it will explode, you never know who will be the victim. So I think people should be allowed to be free and demonstrate. And then we say we believe in democracy. You cannot believe in democracy and take it halfway, because democracy encapsulates so many things. It's not just going to vote and choosing leaders. Protests, press conferences, and whatever. It's all part of the democracy. To create awareness, people to know exactly how some group of people are feeling. It is incumbent on all of us to understand that democracy comes with a price. You cannot be a democratic leader and then be somebody who say finching and think that people cannot express their views. That is not democracy. We are not in dictatorship. We are not in military rule, whereby you say that what you say is final. So I think Yoweri Museveni, from 1984 or something, was it 85, has been a president, even, which means his presidency is older than the one challenging him. Is it not a shame? It's a shame to me. Be contesting with your son or your grandson, and then instead of you to allow this your grandson or your son to feel free, you're rather intimidating the person. So what do you fear? So for me, it's sad, you know. It seems some of us are yet to understand what democracy means in Africa because of the intimidations, the arrests and detention. Look at how what they subjected this young man to during the election. His wife, I don't know whether that is the real wife, the videos that we saw.
I think it was just propaganda.
Oh, it was propaganda, okay. That's why I said I don't know whether that is really his wife. You see, so I think...
I saw that video. I mean, whether or not it was the wife, it was very humiliating.
Yeah,
it was still within that period.
Even, it was even a woman who was being treated by, I think, a woman police.
Yeah, very humiliating.
So I think we should just be careful the way we treat our fellow human beings. Power
is transient.
It is not, you cannot say you are holding power, you're going to misuse it the way you want. Hey, the day of reckoning
will surely come.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adja Amdatu. Aptly delivered. Gabi, good morning.
Good morning, Kwame. Why did you embarrass me this morning?
Oh, why? Is taking your breakfast an embarrassment?
But do they have to know I'm taking my breakfast?
But
I need energy to come and sit here and talk.
Absolutely.
Especially when Saka is around.
You know?
That's not an embarrassment.
Let me say a good morning to...
Everybody knows that you eat.
And besides, the best meat pie is down there.
Are you by this suggesting that I'm the one who dragged you into eating breakfast?
Yeah, you didn't know.
You need energy to face Saka. Well, are you suggesting that it's a predetermined discussion? So Saka is preparing his notes?
Whatever they sent him from
no, but my topics were chosen today, so are you by this suggesting? Are you by this suggesting?
No, Kwame. He could have
you don't get a joke. You don't get a joke.
Sent it to his people and they are giving him their Gabi, he took the shot of the topics, sent it to his people.
I like that. So once it's in here, Saka has researchers,
yes.
Anyway, Gabi, let's hear from you on the
and all kinds of things. I only come to talk about what? In this world, you only have to know how to speak English. The rest, you can figure it out. I want to say a good morning to our viewers. Owusu Senya West. My friend, don't distract me. Let me say a good morning to our viewers. That was on a lighter side. It's a heavy morning.
Yep.
So, a very good morning to, as usual, the good people of Owusu Senya West. A very good morning to the people of Central Region. I've been asked to consider some position in the next NDC elections. So I have to start greeting the people of Central Region. Bobby Wine.
Yes, Bobby Wine.
And Museveni. As Hajia said, I think it's becoming an embarrassment watching an old man always trying to bully this poor young guy. All this guy wants is to be a representative of his people. He's already a parliamentarian. And with all intents and purposes, you can tell from his passion for Ugandan politics that he really means well for the Ugandan people and wants to see a change in his country. I don't understand why this old man keeps intimidating him with all kinds of tactics. Prior to the elections, he was under house arrest. Prior to the elections, There was a time when he did a live video. Somebody shared on Facebook, those who follow him. He did a live video, and his house had been surrounded by military.
Yeah.
So
For about a week or two.
it's unfortunate the kind of tactics that they use to try and intimidate him. I mean, in the day of the elections also, I don't know if you saw the videos coming from Uganda. They had all these military armored vehicles in the streets. For whatever reason, I don't know. But I think it just speaks to the maturity of our various democracies and how accommodating we are in each other's views. Sometimes, even here in Ghana, our utterances, our mannerisms, our actions, our posturing, sometimes can be very intimidating against the other opponent. But we just let it go as in part of the job, and then we move on to the next issue, set a new agenda. In the part of East Africa where they are, that is not a very stable region either. They are coming, many of them are coming from the back of civil unrest, and their economies are still struggling. In Uganda, once upon a time, they were part of the vibrant sub-Saharan African economies that were growing very well. Recently, it's not that exciting for them as it was in the past. I think that this whole conversation about old leaders, you know, here's my personal view, if you are governing a country where you have a lot of old politicians in leadership, and you have young, passionate politicians also coming up, I don't understand why the older folks always want to try to intimidate the younger folks. I don't know if there are times when they were growing up, they were subjected to that kind of intimidation and harassment. But obviously, if we all have the same good intentions for the country, then you should rather be supporting that person to continue with that drive, with that passion, so long as it's not destructive. That's my personal opinion. And I'm saying this because if you look at countries like even Nigeria, they also have an old president. Before Mugabe died, his political party also had all kinds of tactics that they were using to keep an 80-something, almost 90-something-year-old in power. At a certain age, the human beings are tired. I understand they may be surrounded by people who have their own interests around having these people in power. But sometimes too, the leaders themselves ought to, for the sake of the people and the country, and not just advancing the people around them, pay attention to the caliber of people who are also coming up and support them. All this thing Museveni is doing against Bobby Wine, I find it needless. Because what he's rather doing, he's encouraging a new breed of Ugandan politicians who, after they've gone through the struggle, will come out much more aggressive in their politics. And I don't know if at his age, when he retires eventually, that is the Uganda that he wants to bequeath to the next generation of politicians. As we are developing in our various countries, we should all be mindful that there's an outside world that looks at Africa with a certain perception, especially around old, aged politicians. They'll tell you that if you ask about a country, some of these countries and the leaders that they have, one thing that will always be tagged around an old leader is corruption, for some strange reason. They who you think that they are going closer to God calling them and should be thinking about others, it's always the number one tag around all of them is corruption, abuse of office. That perception has to change on this continent. And I think that other African leaders, other African politicians ought to come, and you don't necessarily have to go to Uganda to go and show your support, but to air their views on this issue and to call Museveni to order, and that he should tone down on this aggressive stance against opposition.
That is the ideal situation, but if you look at most of these African leaders,
that is the perception. They are the ones.
They don't even have to.
They are the ones feeding that perception.
Absolutely. So they are all within the same bracket. So they don't have. I don't think they have the locals to go and advise anybody to do anything, which is contrary to what they do, because that's precisely what most of them do.
But the things have to change.
Yeah.
Because if you want to see, well, you're having a conversation this morning with your viewers about progress and what progressiveness really is, and that is progression. When, forgive my language, but when old folks are called incompetent, corrupt, nepotistic, and all these things, I as a young person, when I see a senior politician being branded all these things, and it is actually standing on facts, I feel sad in my spirit, because I always have this attitude that is like in the home. Your father, as the head of the family, has to set a certain level of decorum for all you others coming up to follow. But when you have old folk politicians, because of their actions, being called all these adjectives, what really do you expect?
Don't you think all of these things...
It has to change. The African story has to change.
Are grounded on the erroneous impression, or perhaps in their minds, the factual assumption that
they know how
have
to
a
use
sense
power.
of ownership. They own the country, sort of. I mean, but for us, we wouldn't have been here. And so we won't nurture a baby, or we won't rear, cattle for anybody to come and slaughter and enjoy. We have to enjoy.
And that is even wrong.
Absolutely, but
if
don't you think that perhaps is the mentality?
Then the
and this is happening across. Look at even what was happening until recently, where Tshisekedi won the elections. Kabila was there, and he was there till when? Look at Togo. What is happening in Togo? Look at Cameroon. So I don't know whether if I look at Rwanda.
But the story has to change.
Yeah.
And African leaders, maybe because I'm part of a new generation, so I see things differently. And I see what the future can be for Africa. But it is saddening.
Yeah.
How old folks leaders run countries like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't speak well
Absolutely.
of they themselves.
Absolutely.
You mentioned Togo. Look at the state of the Togolese. When you drive into Togo, what is exciting about Lomé? The only reason why someone like me, I'll go and sit in Lomé is because I want a change of environment. And it could have been that I'll drive from here to the Cape Coast. But Cape Coast is my home. So unless I have to go to Western region. So I just want a place where nobody even knows you. But what is really there? I think, if you allow other young politicians who come with fresh ideas, with new innovations, with new thinking, to challenge this, what is this democracy we are practicing? It's a battle of ideas, and what is, once again, to use the word, progressive, and will move us forward. These old politicians, sometimes, look at Nigeria, with all the challenges with the NSAS and how their president has responded to all these issues. Police were shooting their citizens on the streets, and it was as if he just couldn't be bothered. I don't know.
I like where you're going with the deliberate involvement of the young people in the body policy of the countries of Africa, right? But you would also admit that as a result of the constant stay in power of most of these political heads, the young people who are supposed to act and do better have been corrupted.
Many of
by
them.
the very actions of these people.
Many of them.
So then that is the danger. That's what the danger is, because I'm very certain in my mind, without any shred of hesitation, that once Museveni leaves the scene,
Another crop
even
will
if
come.
a younger person is going to be brought on board, that person will be a stooge of Museveni and will be walking in the shadows of Museveni, and that's a fact. So how do we balance the equation here? How do we move from because look,
that is for the Ugandan people.
Even in our country, we know and we see when we hear about young politicians who are so corrupted by the system, who obviously are into politics for their own parochial gains, and not to serve the people. So then your submission about the future is really in extinction, even though we are not there. It's in extinction. We are never going to get there.
It is the people who decide, because at a point in time, as you get exposed to more education, you get exposed to more information, as you come to a certain realization that this is not what it ought to be. I think that as those conversations come up, it puts the thought into people's minds about what really should be the course that we should take. And that in itself starts the process of people realizing that we don't want this kind of leadership. We don't want to be governed by this kind of personality.
Right.
And that is what becomes even more dangerous, because when the people come to that realization, and if you are lucky as a leader, they decide to do it through the ballot box, you are lucky. They can vote you out. But if before your term ends, it becomes something else, that is when you become a civil uprising.
Right.
And that one is free for all.
Right. Saga, brilliant submissions from Hadja and Gabriela.
Yeah.
But my point of departure in all of these is that we are seeking to build, if we're seeking to build a country, right, you must rally support of every well-meaning citizen within that country.
Yeah.
The challenge is that you have, quite often than not, you have countries that are sharply divided on political lines. And so it's very difficult to rally people behind. And I'm by this, predicating this assumption on what transpired, for instance, prior to 1957. Yes, we had some minimal opposition, etc. But the generality of the Ghanaian people were in support of a particular movement to bring our people out of the shackles of colonialism, for instance. So you could actually achieve something because then the people were behind you. The point of departure in all of this for me is the political and ideological differences. So, for instance, people in Uganda, and I went to school in Rwanda with a lot of them, they agree that there's a problem.
Yeah.
However, in that agreement, they still find it very difficult to support another person because they say, well, we don't even know the other person and what the person would come and do. They come, they wear nice clothes, but they are wolves. So that for me is a problem. How do we ensure that we bring people together? People would have one common agenda, one common aim to wrestle power from one political party and to give it to another person so that we can all move forward as a nation. How do we change that perception? I don't know if I'm making sense to you. It's so rigid that it's very difficult to change. And even Ghana, look at Ghana, for instance. And this is not NDC or NPP.
No, I understand you.
But look at Ghana. For instance, if we have tried NDC, I'm using if, because I know you'd disagree with me to say that NPP hasn't performed. But let's assume that both NDC and NPP haven't performed well, right? And then the Ghanaian people come together and they are united in their minds and in their thoughts that, listen, these guys haven't performed. Let's try, for instance, CPP. We would have moved forward a little bit. At least then we'd have a third force that would be the decider. Then we can decide, okay, well, at least so it was better even choosing CPP. But
The third force was good. The surprise was
well,
good.
yeah. But I'm just using this as an example, right? Because a formidable political party, whether or not going to perform better than CPP, is CPP. Let's for the purpose of structure, for the purpose of ideology, etc., it's CPP. Now, if we had done that, perhaps Ghanaians would have been better informed about the alternatives that there exist.
Yeah.
Because NDC says, for instance, they are social democrats. MPP is what? Is capitalists.
Yeah.
Right? But the ideologies, their performances are primarily the same. You don't really... they all go to borrow, they all do that. And at the end of the day, they come to...
Liberal democracy.
Absolutely. So how do we, using Ghana's experience as an example,
Yes.
how will the Ugandan people be able to move away from that rigid mental set of continuing to maintain Museveni, and to give, for instance, Bobby Wine an opportunity to serve his people, as has been established by Gabriela.
Kwame, I think that you are right. You are right. In Africa, not only in Ghana, most invariably, it's always about the alternative. If you are in power and you are not performing, they look at the alternative. You remember even the last election, one of our mantra was that the alternative is scary. Because we're referring to what your mama did with Danso, what they did with corruption and all those things. So sometimes it's not so much about the incumbent. It's about whether or not you have
a viable
alternative that can shift the paradigm from where we are. And if you look at Africa, I mean, that has always been the case. Museveni has been in power for 30 something years, over 40 years.
Sixth term.
Yes.
Or 5 years.
Sixth term of 5 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you multiply, that's about 30 years.
30 years. Okay. So he's not older than
wow.
But I mean, it's
number one was 9 years.
Yeah, it was 9 years when he took over in 1985.
Yeah, number one was 9 years.
Yeah. So when you stay, I mean, when you stay in power for a very long time, even the people themselves, you lose your appeal. The people want change. Human being by nature want change. That is the reason why if you look at our constitution, I mean, we could have said, if you are president, you can stay for one term of 10 years. But within the 10 years, a lot of things can happen. You can deepen poverty for some section of the people. And you can make some section of the people so rich to the extent that they become fabulously rich. That is not good enough. And that is the reason why we are fashioning a period that to us is reasonable enough so that we can have 4 years. So that at least, even if you come and your rule is as bad as anything, within 4 years we will just do away with you. We'll see your back. But where we have a leader that decides that they are so good that there's no any other alternative except them. We have such situation when Rawlings was going out of power because he was saying that hand over to who? Because he didn't even see who to hand over the power to because he saw that Ghana is him and he is Ghana. The same is happening. I mean, Museveni and all the other people who have, ingrained themselves in power. And I think that, like you said, it should not just be the alternative alone. Like a single political party wrestling power from a party that has entrenched itself in power. You should give hope to the people that, okay, this group of people that want to wrestle power from this incumbent, they are capable of changing things. And we cannot even see that with Bobi Wine. I mean, this is a person that has no experience. This is a person that is a musician. He has no experience in governance and all that. And he hasn't formed a coalition enough, to actually convince the people that he is capable of handling the situation should this man go out of power. And that has always been the case. And for me, I think that democracy should not just be about one person. It's not just be about one group. It should be about all. And in Uganda's situation, I mean, it's becoming, worrisome that every now and then the opposition is being hunted out of, the scene. They are being intimidated. They are being cowed into submission. And look at what happened. You arrested a certain group of people, and he, in solidarity, went to protests against it. And some of those people that were arrested, about 15 MPs. If it were in Ghana here, even one MP can cause an uproar. You arrested 15 MPs together with the the presidential candidates. And after releasing them, everybody is still quiet. And then I think that we have issue with the way Uganda is being governed by one person. Almost everybody is cowing to the whims and caprices of Museveni. And when you do that, this is a man that will even veto his successor. I'm telling you, if this man is going out of power, he will veto somebody.
I think so.
Who will come and continue with the same ideologies. And that would not be a democracy.
And I agree with you on the issue of ideology, because ideologies shape opinions.
Exactly.
So, and for instance, and I think, Adia being a socialist will appreciate this. Like, we know the situation in Brazil, for instance. And Bobby Wine tweets and creates the impression that there's some relationship with Juan Guaido.
Yeah.
You know, and for me, that was also a problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's a problem, especially if maybe the incumbent had some forced relationship with that. But you see, when you were making your analysis, you made some point that almost all the political parties, we normally see that we have ideology. But to be honest with you, I don't think that the current dispensation of African politics, anybody can stand out and say that, I mean, this is the ideology that you follow.
Absolutely.
It has to, it's just about the human capacity. It's about the people, the commitment of the people in charge, and their drive and commitment to see their people out of poverty. Not so much about the ideology. I mean, you and I know that the NDC that says that they are social democrats, you know, they came to this realization in 2005. The founder of the party itself does not believe in their ideology, the ideology that they espouse. And I'm saying that there is no much difference between the NDC and NPP when it comes to ideology. That is the reason why all of us operate from the middle. There is no
center
left, center right.
There's no extreme right or extreme
never. If it's about social, you know, interventions and all that, then you know that the NPP are even more socialist than them. And even they, as NDC, has also done some capitalist interventions, even in some areas more than the NPP. So it is not so much about ideology and then strictly adhere to it. And it's about the human being. It's about the capacity of the person sitting down. It's about his drive and his commitment to fighting corruption and to ensure that the good things are brought to the people, so that they can accelerate the growth of the country. These are the things that, you see, that is the reason why I believe that anytime we are going to elections, when people come and say, oh, A, B, C, and D, we should take it with a pinch of salt, or we should treat it with disdain. We should rather look at the track record of the human being talking, whether or not such a person, given the opportunity, would have the commitment, can galvanize the people to take us out of our predicament.
Remember, I was talking about Bobby Wine. I think I found a tweet. Let me just read it out to you.
Yeah,
you know that in Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro is a president, right?
Yeah.
And then Bobby Wine, it says, very pleased to speak with President Juan Guaido.
I mean, this is immature.
Absolutely.
This is immature.
So that goes to the heart of the ideological representation that I was talking about. What is his ideology? What does he believe in?
No, he doesn't believe in anything.
Absolutely.
He believe in,
populism. Because how do you describe Juan Guaido as the president of Venezuela when you know that Nicolas Maduro has been duly elected?
Yeah,
and this one is just a puppet of the West.
So think of such a person, being the alternative to Museveni.
So the people then perhaps will say that they will like
leave out.
Anyway, I think that we spent a lot of time educating ourselves. I mean, but everything.
So let's form coalition.
Absolutely.
If you want change, if you want real change, there has to be a coalition. There has to be, a lot of viability. There has to be a lot of credibility with the alternative. Not just any alternative, just because you want to see the back of a dictator. Then anything, I mean, it's okay. No, it shouldn't be like that.
Absolutely. I mean, the bottom line is that when we've all agreed on this table that it appears that it's commonplace that the discussion should rather be centered around, ideology.
Yeah.
Right? And a firm belief in that which can impact the lives of the people. Nonetheless, I think I would also go with what Gabriela said, that we should find a way of also exposing the young people to the practice of governance. And that, because then when these people die, who will take over? We need to make sure that we bring them up to speed with governance and its processes.
Yeah, it's true. Very true.
Right. Now, let's come back and deal with our own issues in this country. 3 of the most important issues for us this morning is, 1, the inappropriate textbooks that have been circulating around on social media. I saw that of the my people from the Volta region. I saw that of my people from the northern part of this nation, and I was scandalized by the description that the book sought to give to my people in the Volta region. I will get them for you. I'll get them for you, and I'll get them for you. If you like, let me just even read from the Daily Guide, because the story is from Daily Guide, and I'm sure once the story is from Daily Guide, you will be happy. You will be happy. I'll look for it, but I know that we know what is going on social media. I will get it. I will get it. I will find it and put it out. But Gabby, your colleague in NDC, I think I saw he shared something on his WhatsApp status. I'm referring to Edem Agbana, in relation to what has been going on, and he said that, well, if something is not done about the circulation of these textbooks, he's going to lead a campaign to make sure that all those textbooks are banned. Who started? Jifa started that?
From the MP.
Honorable Abla.
Yes. Yes, and Ablapa
before Edem Agbana.
Asked for us to, the description of Nkrumah. It's all in.
It's just, So
we'll talk about it.
How did he describe Nkrumah?
No, you don't worry.
You get there. The description to JB Dankwa, wow, was superb, absolutely beautiful, like an angel. I was like, wow.
What was it?
JB Dankwa, I'll read it out for you.
Whether it is true.
We are shaming you. Why are you touching your hair?
The exposure of these books shows the beauty of our social media, because without social media, this wouldn't have gained the traction and the fire that it has over the last few years. And what change you can do with last few days, and what change you can achieve through social media. I read portions of the books, the pages that were shared, and I do agree that some of the suggestions and what is implied in those writings are most inappropriate, and classifying our fellow Ghanaians in those. Some of them are said they are what was the expression they even used for? There was the one about the juju.
Yeah, voodoo.
Yes, voodoo. Efo. Yes. And there was another one.
The Ewa people still live in villages and choose their chiefs by voting. The voting is influenced by the elders. The chief must never be seen drinking and must cover his head in public. Ewa people's, the traditional Ewa people's religion is called voodoo.
But what is sad is
voodoo means juju.
But voodoo is actually Latin American.
Oh dear.
So in our part of the world, it's not called voodoo; it's called juju. But what is sad is all these pages.
Sorry for truncating your chain of thought. Sorry, Gabriela. Wulugu, is it Wulugu or Wulugu? Wulugu is a town. There is no tap water. The people fetch water from a small river and a well. People fetch water into their pots and buckets. There is water in the river and the well if it rains. There has been very little rain this year. The whole place is dirty. Please proceed.
No, but what's the context? The context.
These are textbooks. How do you write these things in textbooks for students to learn?
Okay.
One, I've heard that the GES has come out to say that they didn't sanction these books. I've heard NACAP also say that they didn't sanction these books. I'm glad Haja put the words into my mouth. The question is, how did they get into the public domain in the first place? And what kind of material is out there that the GES and NACAP have also not approved that are in circulation? These books, from what I was listening to yesterday, apparently are not part of the curriculum textbooks, but they are considered as other materials that students are referenced to acquire and study. Like how in our young days we used to have Akiola series to help us practice. Question is, the GES monitoring team and NACAP monitoring teams, what do they do? That is one problem. In fact, that's two problems in one, because they are two different institutions. The other issue is the teachers who introduce students to these books. Are there other books? How aware are they of what literature they are giving children to study? Because from what I saw on social media, it appeared the concerns were coming from parents and not the teachers. So there's a whole chain of commands that unfortunately overlooked this problem and allowed these books to be put in circulation for young people to start reading. There are about 4 different pages that I have seen just on the Voltarians alone. Yeah, and I think that is what has triggered the uproar, especially from the Volta side.
Yeah.
My other concern also is it that the Voltarians, the Arab people, have become overly sensitive over the past few years? Or is just the case that there's a gradual attack on them? Are you understanding my point?
Yeah, I know.
So is it that they are too sensitive to what is happening around them, or that there's actually an agenda against them?
I mean,
either way, the first one, either way, both are no good, and we shouldn't be starting to feed that perception by even inculcating these things into these prejudiced views into young children. Class 3, class 4 years, they're coming to learn how to write sentences, and you want them to learn sentences with these kind of words. In their formative years, when at that point, their knowledge they have is very limited, and they are now building the foundation blocks to that knowledge. It is very problematic. I don't think that even just investigating is enough. Question is, who is going to investigate? I think that maybe we should let the parliamentarians do it, because I'm not sure the Ghana Education Service, who allowed these books to be in circulation in the first place, are equipped enough to investigate this mishap.
There's a letter that was issued yesterday. I think I saw it on social media. From
the publishers?
Yeah, from the publishers, indicating that it has not been approved yet, and it was still in its formative period, and that they don't know how it got into the public domain. So apology for offensive publication. Bedun Cancer, so they admit that, first of all, they admit that it's offensive. Bedun Cancer Limited, the wholly Ghanaian-owned publishing house, has been in operation for 24 years. Within these years, we have produced educational materials covering all major subject areas, well, they say which have been relied upon for both academic and research work. We wish to bring the following to the attention of Ghanaians. Following the introduction of the new curriculum by NACA, we submitted a textbook assessment application for approval for our book, History of Ghana, in January last year. We received a response to our publication from NACA on 25th of September. Reference number is there. NACA raised concerns with portions of the book, even though they informed us that the book had satisfied most of the technical and content requirements. They, however, told us to work on certain aspects of the book further in order for it to meet the expectations of the new curriculum. An attached comment which accompanied the report detailed areas of particular concern which we are still in the process of complying with. Unfortunately, whilst undergoing the review, a limited quantity of the unpublished draft found its way into the market. We have seen certain snapshots on social media which has generated justified public uproar due to its offensive tone. Though it is not a deliberate attempt to berate such a huge section of our society, we wish to unreservedly apologize for the slip. Our brand stands for national unity, and we currently employ workers who originate from all parts of the country. How those few copies found its way to the market is something we are still investigating, and we will make the results of our investigation known to the public. In the meantime, we have called up all copies in circulation with immediate effect, since they have not yet met the final approval. Now, how do you call
something in circulation?
How do you call something if you didn't sanction it? That is one. Two. How do you say that? Oh, you know, you are sorry because some portions of it are offensive. And it's not about the fact that it's offensive. It's about your mindset. That is what you believe. That's what you think. You know, do you have our breakfast here? You have it. Okay, so we'll call for it. We'll call for it. But just hold on. That is your thinking. That's in your mind. That's what you think, and that for me is a problem. You know. So the fact that you work with Ewe people or people from the north does not mean that you don't have that. For instance, I'm sure that they have been treated poorly.
But even in publication,
yeah,
in the world of publications, you have proofreaders.
Proofreaders.
Whose job it is to not just read the English where the punctuations are, but the content and what is implied. So what were the proofreaders doing? So, Kwame, this issue is very troubling. And as I said, investigating it is not enough. There has to be sanctions against the printing house. They have to, even sanctions, I think that they should just withdraw their contract for a few years to serve as a deterrent to all other printing houses, that this kind of this will not be countenanced in this country. We've come a long way. We overheard there are something tribes in this country. We've come a very long way in building up nurturing, what's it called? Our nurturing attributes to tolerate each other. To tolerate each other. So, personally, I think that they need to be sanctioned. And also, if we've seen this, the question is, which other books are also there
in circulation?
Pushing this agenda.
Describing Nkrumah as a dictator.
No, I'm going to read that one out. I think Sewa even projected it on the screen. But for me,
is that what we want to teach?
For me, it's also the timing, really. Beyond all the tribal bigotry that has characterized this book, it's also the timing. Particularly, you remember all the issues that we had with respect to the elections and people feeling that they are not part of, and the secessionist movement and all of that, and you are publishing such a book at this time. It's a problem.
It's unfortunate. So by Adam's group, the Volta Students Association, I think that's what they are called. I think the police met with them yesterday in Volta region, and then they've given about 2 weeks for GES to recall all those books, and for them to see some sanctions meted out before they take any other course of action. The Volta region House of Chiefs has also come out to condemn the publication. And moving forward, I think that this one goes to leadership of this country, that the Voltarians, the Ewes, appears there's a deliberate or some other machinations that targets them. And looking at how far we have come in terms of our national cohesion, and how we're able to mingle with each other, we've come too far to allow anybody, group of people, and businesses, associations.
That is happening at a time when these leaders who did not play any significant role in the independence struggle are the ones who are doing this. Because you see, as a result, we've all read small, as a result of the ethnic differentiation, tribal differentiation, that's why Nkrumah even built created the boarding system. So that there will be some level of cohesion. And yet somehow, we just want to divide our people. It's heartbreaking, because for me, as I sit here, I'm from Elmina, for instance.
Northern Volta.
And I'm also from Northern Volta. And I grew up in Ashanti region. And I have tons of friends in the northern part of this nation. So we are very closely related, all of us. So to suggest that one session of of the people are not Ghanaians it's madness, and we have to describe it as it is. Ajay, let me come to you now.
Yes, Kwame, I was itching to come in after Gabriela. You see, it's very sad. We've come a long way, as Gabriela rightly indicated, for us to rather promote and project internal cohesion. We have intermarried, we have traveled across cities and towns. We, the Gombes, even have a seat in the Asantuma Council. We believe the people for Bantama are our people in Bantama. We have so many things in common as Ghanaians that should bring us together than rather things that will divide us. So in fact, it's very sad. As for the error thing, I think it started just some few days ago. But for us in the CPP, the one who wrote this history book, who wants to rewrite the history of this country, me, I'm a CPP. But Kwame, let me tell you, I don't want people who keep on hammering on what happened in their past, as you said just now, that people who didn't even contribute much to the independence are the ones who are trying to divide this country. Are you with me? So therefore, if you are teaching the history of this country, and then you title this and the limitations of the Convention People's Party, Nkrumah gave money to Guinea to get independence, 10 million pounds. He was a dictator. He was not respecting the chieftaincy institutions. And is that what you want to teach our children? Is that what is going to put food on our table? No. Such a thing. They will also start. Oh, this person too was like this. How is it that a 15-year-old guy was arrested and detained? That 15-year-old is supposed to be in school. What was he doing? I asked this question some time back. When people were asking, saying that detention without trial and this, and a 15-year-old or the 14 was arrested. A 15-year-old is supposed to be in school, or 14 years. What were you doing? And then you were arrested, which means you were holding some harmful thing that you wanted to throw into the crowd for people to. Is that the kind of history we want to teach our children? Are we also going to say that even when Nkrumah was struggling to get money to build Akosombo, people were agitating and demonstrating against it? Is that what we want to teach our children? If we say Nkrumah was, a bomb was thrown to Nkrumah, whether it came within or without, is that what we want to teach our children? Definitely no. We want to teach our children what will enhance their capacity to be self-determined, self-reliance, and move this nation forward. Not to continue to be in the shackles of the colonial mentality. Not at all. So in fact, if people are writing books, if I'm the current government, in order to purge myself from all accusation, I'll ban that press, is it publication. And the publishers, if they have a contract, even this contract, there's nothing like awarding, how do you call that thing, that if a contract is terminated, something debt, judgment debt. They will not even be qualified, because all Ghanaians will rally behind the government and say, no, enough is enough. Because if you're publishing something that will bring some kind of division within the society, all people are like this. Anybody called Ifo is a juju person. Where did you get that history from? Absolutely crazy.
You should describe it as it is.
You see, we want a nation that everybody will be free. There's nothing like this person is this tribe. That is the tribal sentiment and tribal distance. That is why Africans have run out of Ghana. We are still marking time.
We mark time until we change our attitude.
When you've gone to Rwanda, when you ask, they will never say I'm a Tutsis or I'm a Tutsi.
If you'll be arrested, if you try that, you'll be arrested.
They will never.
They have abolished all chieftaincy.
You see, if
bitter lesson.
You see, if you are saying, I revered our chiefs, but some of our chiefs, are they doing things that will near to the benefit of their subject?
Good question.
Are they?
Look at this.
Are they?
I am an Ewe.
What kind of person is it?
If somebody tells you, Saka, that you are inward looking, how will you feel?
So they wrote that here.
Yeah, look. Bad. I have plenty of rice. Gabi, read for me.
So why are we importing rice? I also have salt, and it has made me rich. Sir,
I have the largest lake.
I have the largest lake full of tilapia. I have an attitude to show love, especially to my people. If you can speak my language and you step on my toe, I'm not bothered.
Can you imagine?
I enjoy, if you're from the other tribe, it's a problem. I enjoy music and dancing in my kente club. People say I'm inward looking.
Yes.
But that is what they think. I'm very good, especially to my people. I always stay away from trouble. And that's a song.
You are describing people as inward looking.
You see,
that people say.
You see, for me,
which people say?
Kwame, for me, we shouldn't just limit this to just the ever tribe.
Everybody.
Look at them describing the Bugum and Dambo festival as Islamic festivals. That's what is written. So do you want to tell me that before Islam came to the north?
The Dambo festival is in commemoration of the birth of prophets. Yes. So it has linked.
No, the way they describe it.
It has a link to Islam.
The way they describe it.
Yes.
You understand? Because people too who are not Muslims, some in the north, they celebrate the Bugum festival.
Yeah.
Are you aware of that?
Yeah.
So they're also raising red flags. That is where I'm coming from. I'm a Muslim. I see it as such. But a non-Muslim too from the north.
I see what she's doing with this.
Yeah. Even now it has even moved from being Islamic religion to tradition.
To tradition. So therefore, if you are writing something, do the research properly.
Because the non-Muslim person say, oh, really?
As for us, we don't want any division. We don't want any division.
Yeah.
The people of the north, look, there's an association around my place in Kwabenya. All the tribes in the northern region are part of the thing. Whether you are a Muslim or if you want to join, just join. Why? Because we want to see to the betterment of our people. That's all. For me, what Nkrumah started, like the boarding house school there, my teacher in class 1 is Teacher Frimpong. I can remember from class 1 to 6. But surprisingly now, the secondary school, I can't remember all. I'm telling you, and because of the way they were teaching us in Bolga Experimental Primary School, you like it. Teacher Frimpong, he will come, a very tall man, I can still remember him. Teacher Frimpong. Class 2, the lady is from Nigeria. But she grew up in Bolga and schooled in Bolga. She attended our training college, so we benefited from her experience. Madam Z from Wa, Teacher Adibe from Nabrungu, KK Lion from Alavanyo Nkonya.
Can you imagine?
Yes.
My home
yes.
Region.
We call him KK Lion. You understand? All we interrupt. Most of the people who were doing my father's furniture were from the Volta region. And still, some of them are still in Boga. They speak Hausa, they speak Frafa like them. So this kind of segregation, this division of teaching people or teaching children a history that will not benefit them. When we're growing up, we're learning Mali Empire, Ghana Empire, Songhai Empire, Massacre. You see, it broadens your horizon.
Somebody agrees with you.
You understand the kind of where we are coming from. Yeah. But it never narrowed down to our internal division when we're learning history. We're learning about African history and so on and so forth. You praise people who came to colonize this country, stole our resources. You revere them more than people who struggled to get independence and build the nation Ghana. If you're also going to start saying this person does, this person that, including people, no, it's MPP that is in power. We have it got to a time, no less a person, but His Excellency Nana Dankwa father. How does he describe Jake's father? How did he describe him? So which means he was doing it based on principle because he's a Ghanaian and he didn't want, you see, you understand my point? Yeah. So if we want us to go that way, we can go that way. Yeah. But it is not good. That is not what I want my children to learn or my grandchildren to learn. No. To hate somebody because of his great-grandfather's past? No. I think as a nation we should all collectively fight this canker of division in the history of this country Nkrumah is a dictator. He didn't respect the chiefs. Is that what you are going to teach the children? I ask this question. Does that put food on our table? Nkrumah did a lot for this country. Why are you not saying, Nkrumah, when he was going to look for money to build Akosombo, people demonstrated. Even though after his overthrow, when people went to Akosombo, they put their hands on their head like this. Oh, so is that what Nkrumah did? Is that the kind of people who are manning Akosombo, thinking that they were white people who were manning Akosombo, but rather our black people who were sent to other countries to learn the expertise? We don't want to go there. But if you want us to go there, then we can go. Because some of us are sort of restraining ourselves because we want the unity of this country. I don't want to belong to the group of people who are here, and this person did this, and your grandfather did this. I didn't see it. Are you with me? I didn't see it. I don't even want reading things that would disturb my mind. I want to teach my children how to be law-abiding, to learn the good side of Ghana, not the negative side.
I agree entirely with Haji Amdachi Ibrahim. Now, for those of you who want to join in the conversation, you can do so by sending us a message on our Facebook page, or also sending us a message via our WhatsApp number, which is projected on your screens now. And I share in Nadia's passionate submission.
Those who want to take us on that agenda, you equally have a lot of things to write about their history.
That's what I'm saying.
So this back and forth should...
It's needless, really.
It's needless.
I think that the fundamental question should therefore should be, what, as a nation, what are we aspiring to? What do we hope to achieve, even with our educational system? Saka.
Yeah, Kwame.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I think it's quite unfortunate that this thing is happening, and more so at the time that there's this growing perception of the government not, liking the people of the Volta region. That remains a perception. But you see, when some of these things come to add to it, I mean, if they say that Ohobon, then you decide to ta in addition, then it becomes a problem. And I'm happy, apart from Gabriela that wanted to even bring politics to it. I'm happy that the two of you didn't bring politics so much. It has to do with the publication by the publishers. The Badu and Kasa publication, and then the Golden publication, publications, yes. I mean, if you look at what happened, to them, they thought they were doing something right. They were teaching our children the history of this country. I mean, class 6 and class 3 history books, and you try to bring your own ideas or what you hear outside the history, to come and put it inside there. I mean, there are certain things that we say here. When we are alone, we say different things. When you are even speaking to people, depending on the audience, there are certain things that you see. Sometimes political platform, you can decide to go haywire or say certain things. I mean, when you are on a panel, to discuss intellectual issues, there are certain things that you say. When you are with children, there are certain things that you say. And you don't expect them to imbibe from the word go certain notion, certain perception of a certain people that people say they are in. I mean, who said those things? You don't have to say it. Even if people say it, you don't give it oxygen. You don't try to publicize it and let it become part of our books. So at the very moment that you are growing as a class 3 child, learning, history, then you learn a history of ever being inward looking. And I'm happy that the GES has not approved this. The NACA, the National Council for Curriculum Assessment, has actually come out through their acting chief executive, John Mensah Anam. He has also come out to say that since September, when they presented some of these things, they actually, had not approved this book, and I've asked them to go and then do certain works on it. I'm also happy that they have come out, the publishers, the Bedouin Cancer, the Golden Public, they have come out to actually apologize. But as to whether the apology is enough is another thing.
It's not enough.
You get the point. I think that a punitive measure should be meted to them.
Sure.
They should be blacklisted. They should ensure that they apologize, and even the authors, not just the publishers, those who actually wrote those things. It's not only about the Evans. Even the other one, after the Kwame Nkrumah one, maybe we can take it. I'm not saying it's good enough, but because that one has no ethnic undertone, it has everything to do with denigrating the individual that actually, contributed in no small measure for our independence. But you don't even have to go there at that tender age, whether or not he was a dictator. Leave that one at another level, so that it can be used as, intellectual,
textbook, for instance.
Not even textbook. A question as
Discourse,
to
yeah.
was Kwame Nkrumah a dictator or not?
You see,
discuss.
I find it difficult to even have the question.
Or was he a Democrat or not? Discuss. But to say that he was a dictator, when indeed he has never been a military ruler, he has been, you can disagree with some of the things that he did, but it was not under dictatorship. So for a book to just come out and say that Kwame Nkrumah was a dictator and to mention all those things, I think that from the very word go, we normally say that cut them young, and when they grow, they shall be. And even the Bible books, in the Bible, I mean, all these things are there. Teach them the right thing. When you teach them the wrong thing, they will grow with it. Because some of us, we can still remember all the things that we read in our, primary school days. I still remember a lot of them. And they form sometimes the opinion that you grow up with. I think that it was a political, or it was not political, it was ethnic bigotry on the part of the person that actually authored it. On the part of those that actually, proofread it. Mm-hmm. They were, and I think all of you were saying that they said that they will recall those books.
Those books, yeah.
The books,
that was a statement that they issued.
Yeah. The books in circulation already is illegal.
It's illegal.
It's illegal.
Yeah.
But you see, I think that it is not in their place to recall the book. National security will have to do that.
Absolutely.
And that is the reason why certain people are calling on national security to act or to investigate and to act. I think that national security will do...
Because it's a threat to the security.
Yeah, it's a threat to the security of this nation. It's a threat to now want to stereotype a certain ethnic group, to now want to denigrate or delineate, certain personalities, and to, who do they want it, to please?
I don't know.
That's a very good question.
You see, when you were talking, you talk of profusely eulogizing J.B. Dankwa and then saying certain derogatory things about Kwame Nkrumah. I don't think that anybody will want that. When you do that, NPP will not be in power forever.
Absolutely.
And then another party comes to power and also decides that they will change the curriculum and also decides to denigrate J.B. Dankwa.
You are confusing the
kids. I think that it will not be in the interest of this nation that we should have intellectual discourse that differ based on the party
who's in power. That's a very good statement.
That is in the southern.
That's a very good statement.
That is the reason why I agree that the Ghana Book Development Bill that is in Parliament should be expedited. Let's get to the bottom of some of these things. Let's see the content of whatever book that any person is writing. This one, not even an academic book. If you are even writing your own book for publication, that book has to meet certain criteria. And anything short of those criteria must not be publicized. But it's like these days, because of social media, because of the fact that somebody can write some small English, they just decided to publish anything. And to the extent that you are now using NACA at the back of NACA and coming out with such derogatory and incendiary content of a book that is meant to mold the thinking of nationalism. Because for whatever reason, there is something about Kwame Nkrumah that nobody can take away from him. He was somebody that actually wanted to unite this nation, not just Ghana but Africa. The feeling of nationalism. He wanted us to feel, and even the young pioneers today. If you see those people who were part of the young pioneers,
thinking is different.
their thinking is different. And if all Ghanaians were to be young pioneers by now, I'm sure some of the problems that we are facing, we will not be facing it, because the nation first agenda would have been with us.
Was young pioneer.
Yeah, Akufo-Addo was young pioneer, and that explained the reason why he believed in Ghana.
And that's why he should stop.
you understand? And I think that whoever wrote that book, they should be sanctioned. They should not just be sanctioned. The publication must be blacklisted for some number of years, so that it will serve as deterrent. So that, people can now use this as mischief for political purposes.
Absolutely.
Like I said, that from my submission, the first statement that I made, there are people who hate this government. This is a propitious moment, opportunity for them to now, hap on what is happening. But this has to do with, some unscrupulous persons parading as publishers who are using the
perpetrate whatever they want to perpetrate.
To perpetrate, this wrong. And they must face the music.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Ghana is 64 years. We don't need this now, really. We do not need this
we
now.
never even needed it even when we were
one. Absolutely. So this is not a time to come and, please anybody. Sometimes I say this, and I think I've ever made this point on this show before. Therefore, all these things that we see and hear, the president may not necessarily be the one who has these.
Somebody just
please people.
Somebody want to please.
Honestly, people just want to please it because they think that MPP, so let's just do something. People are just very blockheaded. That their whole preoccupation is about pleasing someone.
The dog stops with him. And if this thing goes,
I think that is why they want to do something about it. And look, I don't want to discredit any effort or any attempt, at
withdrawing the book.
I don't want to discredit that at all, with the greatest of respect to you.
But he should also send a signal out.
Absolutely.
That nobody should publish material that will bring any tribal, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with you.
And that message should be very
clear. The message is clear.
Trouble, but distortion
and
of
political.
Yeah.
Not only history, anything. You don't have to distort anything.
Absolutely. So let's let's
not saying they started throwing bombs from
There's a woman who is still struggling because she has
Well, I'm sure that you are loving the morning show today, particularly because of the unism that has characterized the morning show this morning. I'm particularly excited about it. We're all in agreement in respect of the issues. Before we move on to discussing Alban Babin's issue, I want us to discuss the fuel prices, because that's like my baby, really. I'm very passionate about it. I'm very passionate about the trajectory of Ghana's growth. Now, and I will do this before I bring in my wonderful panelists. Government's expenditure, Appendix 6 of consolidating the gains for growth, jobs, and prosperity. I believe that's the budget, right? And so, serial number is here, everything. The amount of money that was spent, I think I've sent it to, Sewa, very good for projecting it on the screens now. This is how much we spent on government's flagship programs for 2020. This is how much we spent. Just the flagship programs. So, free SHF, we spent what? 2 billion, 2.4 billion. Billion, not million. Infrastructure for poverty eradication program. 1 billion.
Yes.
1 billion.
Yes.
1,046,749,741 Ghana cedis. Road infrastructure, 1.2 billion. Nation Builders Corps, 840 million. School feeding program, 470 million. Billion, I beg your pardon. Is it million or billion? Million. Planting for food and jobs, 400 million. Livelihood empowerment against poverty, LEAP. This is when Corona came and they started giving you people money.
No, not only that. I mean, it has been there long.
But that is when it was really felt. 200 million. Okay, let's say 280 million.
That is for the poor.
Yeah, approximately, yes. Microfinance, a small loan center. Which one is that one?
That's
Maslock.
They only got 100
million. 100 million. One district, one factory, the almighty. 150. Railways development, 117. National Identification Authority, 100 million. Capitalization of new regions, 149 million. Zongo. I'm told the Muslims say it's Zango, not Zongo. Zango Development Fund, 1 million. Hey, wait, 100 what? Anyway, water and sanitation, 42 million. Fish landing sites, where our very own Hawakumsin is going, 10 million.
10 billion.
Government communication on what? On all the projects or what? 6 million.
Yeah, on all those
Teacher training allowances, the teachers will best tell us, 149,912,081. Nursing trainee allowances, 231,200,000. Now the grand total is 7,763,668,451. So this is how much we have spent, or we spent last year. Now this one, I'm not. So leave this on the screens. Let me also share this with the viewers. I don't have that one projected properly, so I don't want to give you that one, my beautiful Sewa. Anyway, so this one, Ghana is broke, all right? This is just Ghana is broke. Total revenue and grants is 72.5 billion Ghana cedis, which is 100%. Interest payment is 35.86 billion, which is 49. Yes, which is 49.50%.
Of what?
Of
the grant and loans and revenues that you people have gone for.
No, grants are supposed to be.
No, I don't get the percentage.
Hold on.
Compensation
So compensation has
interest rate is not
higher than compensation. So compensation is
interest rate.
Yeah, interest rate also. So I'll give it to you.
Interest on loans.
Interest on loans. That's what I'm
saying.
saying.
Say interest rate.
No, but interest. You know what we are saying.
No, I don't get it, because interest rate is different from interest.
Saka, let me just put it out. We will dissect it. So we are all students. No. Compensation is.
Why are you doing this?
Compensation is 30.31 billion, Adja, and the percentage is 41.84%. Total interest and compensation is 66.17 billion, 90.83%. In effect, what I'm trying to say is that Ghana, your beloved country, is broke for now.
I don't get it.
You will never get it to. You will never get it to. Anyway,
I mean, giving figures and say that Ghana is broke. I mean, what's the meaning of this?
We will get into that. You know,
you should just give it figures.
I don't put out figures when I don't have any explanation to back it.
No,
how do you understand?
No, this. Oh, please, what's your problem?
I'll share the document with you. But I'm just bringing all of these things out, and to find a way of understanding or appreciate whether there's a certain symbiosis between all of these things and then the taxes and then the fuel increment, so that government can generate more revenues to be able to offset the debt. This is precisely what I want to do this morning.
Kwame.
Yes, my boss.
You know,
but this
the Convention People's Party.
This was last year.
Yeah, but they obviously would have an impact this year.
Doesn't include the expenditure on corridors.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I just want to.
But it would have an impact
I just want
this year's budget.
I just want to say something brief.
Please.
About this fuel hike. What I'm deducing from all what is happening is that there's no free lunch. There's no free lunch. This poverty alleviation, the free water, the free electricity, all the free. Government is taking it back.
Adia, this simply put 100% for you.
That is it. That's a simple way to explain this. Because if you're going to put up these figures and percentage, you're going to confuse the people. It's like giving us with the right hand and taking with the left hand. Because I can't remember His Excellency, I never said John Adikun Kuko. Nana Adodan Kuko said, Yetisikasu into a comedy. So where is the Sika in this country? A comedy, yes, I borrow more. You see, when you borrow that way, and then most of the borrowing that you are borrowing, you are still using it to service debt. The impact is not felt by the good people of this country. It's not felt because our roads are still bad. Some of our people are still drinking from the same dustbin with the animals. So I can't think far. I can't think far. The issue is that these taxes, because we were promised that they were going to remove all the nuisance tax, all the then tax. So I was surprised, especially the Kumipreku one. Which one? The VAT.
The VAT, yeah.
No less a person by His Excellency led the Kumipreku demonstration. And now you're increasing the VAT by 1% again. So you're koyana say buy. Where is the money that they promised that is in this country? Where is it?
I need confirmation. When I entered the studios this morning, my camera guys were telling me that they've also introduced another tax on bola.
Yes, bola tax.
Oh, how?
Sanitation tax.
No, we've been paying already.
I know, but they've increased it.
I don't, because my area. 10 pesos. My area, the bola, we pay 40 cedis. And I think the Zoom line, it comes to, so I don't know which one has been increased by the 10%. Maybe those that they go to the, I don't know, those containers they put around the area, do they pay before they pour the thing?
No.
I have no idea. So you see, Kwame, all the enjoyment that we're enjoying, free water, electricity. Anyway, me water I didn't enjoy because I don't have water in my house. Me, I use borehole. So the taxes that are being put on all this is a reflection of the distress this our economy has come to, because the economy is in distress, whether we like it or not. So they should tell us the truth that the economy is not. If you say this is Obatampa budget, and then you are telling me that I read somewhere some percentage of increment of blah, 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 how the economy increased and the foreign exchange. And I said, that is neither here nor there. Because if I buy this pen for 2 cedis, and the next day I go and buy it for 2 cedis, 20 pesos, I think it has increased. If you're going to take some micro or macro indicators to confuse me, it will not wash. Because it is the power of the pocket. Now, fuel prices have been increased. What can we do to our transportation system in such a way that all people coming from Adenta, majority of the people who are working in the ministry, Medina, there will be some effective transport system that will even allow people to park their cars and maybe use it on only weekends. So that the pressure, the traffic, the pressure on people's vehicles and brakes will sort of, the cars will survive more than 4 or 5 years before you change your. Because Kwame, when I was coming this morning to even 10, you see Donte, we will come out from the Franco Estate, then join the main road before we make a U-turn. Come and see, we stood there more than 20 minutes. Traffic. So if you have good roads, we have good transportation system. We went and learned from the West, but when it comes to transportation system and governance, or for that matter, corruption things, we have a system that we use rather. Because abroad, most people don't use their vehicles.
Yeah.
They go by bus or train. So if we don't have the train now, at least buses should be working.
Available.
And then we will be there, we will be using the buses. Like, I will just come in my junction like this, where we call tiles. I'll take a bus and then come and get down at the overhead. I can just walk to the studio. And then maybe if I'm going back, I do the same thing. Unless and until we do that, there will always be problems when it comes to the transportation. Now people are parking their cars. But how sure are they that if they use the public transport, when going back to Adenta or Pantan or Pokwasi, they'll get a vehicle smooth back home? So I think some people too argue that you go abroad and be saying that it's nice, it's taxes that people, but if people are well paid, well resourced, paying tax will not have, they will not have any problem paying tax. But how, as we have increased certain things in this country, what about the minimum wage? What are we doing about it? Minimum wage is about 7 cedis something.
Yeah.
Or 7 cedis something.
It's less than 10 cities.
It's less than 10 cedis. That cannot even take you to your workplace and back. It's slavery.
It's 10 cities.
10 cedis. What can 10
Okay,
cedis
let's
take you
just
now?
grant that. Yeah. But it's still, I mean, her argument still stands.
You see, people are paying tax abroad. They don't feel it because they earn what they can
More
use
than absolutely,
to
yeah.
pay the tax. That's what I'm saying. But is that what is happening in this country? No. So for me, the free that we got, this is the time that we are paying it back.
Fantastic. Well, so maybe if you can project this on the screens, I just wanted us to appreciate what Adja is talking about. So from the 1st of January to the 15th of January, the price of fuel was 4.8619. There was an appreciation of 2.60%. 16th of January to the 31st of January 2021, the price of petrol was had appreciated by another 1.75%. From the 1st to the 15th of February, there was no appreciation. 16th to the 28th of February, there was an appreciation of 3.09%. So, and from the 1st to the 11th of March, there's been an appreciation of 7.37%, from 3% to 7.37%. So now we're having to buy petrol for 5 cedis, 476.61 pesos. That's a lot. And for those of you who are buying diesel, you're buying it around 5 cedis, 5.5124. So it has appreciated from the last, at the last check, the percentage was 2.71. Now it is around 8.49%. So that's how much you are going to have to pay. And Nadia is saying that when we're enjoying all the free, what were you thinking? Well, let me come to you, Sakasalia. I'll end with you.
Yeah, Kwame, thank you very much. I think that this in Ghana these days, when we talk of increase in petrol, it comes. I'm not surprised that the inside, banner headline: fuel prices bite hard. You see, I mean, people have the tendency to forget or even to play mischief sometimes. We are not saying that there wouldn't be increase in the export price of fuel. There will be. But historically, let's look at this government vis-a-vis the previous government as to which of the two actually have done well when it comes to, increase or ameliorating the burden of, transports and other road users who use fuel. This government, for instance, I mean, let me even take myself as an example. In 2014, I took the then NDC government, through the PURC, the Attorney General, to court on the basis that they had increased fuel and electricity. It was electricity. They've increased it over up to 87%. And then we said that it was very insensitive to have done that. And to have increased it in such manner means that the government of the day did not even bother about the plight of the ordinary Ghanaian to cough up such quantum, amount of money every month for electricity, or even every day for electricity. The government came out and then they reduced it to 57% later on. But the court matter, technicality once again, I was thrown out. But you see, the same people will turn around and pretend as if 20 pesos increase in a liter of petrol means so much, and therefore people will have to talk about this government. Let me tell you, when this government came, in terms of taxes, this government is the government in history that has been able to reduce as many as 17 different taxes at a go. 17 taxes. And any government.
All those taxes, how much do they amount to?
Oh,
in terms of percentage.
A lot of money.
How much?
You see, I'm coming.
Okay.
I for taxes, it
No,
depends on,
let me allow you.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on who uses it. If you have more people doing work that relate with the
absolutely,
tax,
because if you reduce, for instance, some of the taxes which are insignificant to
no tax was insignificant.
Which ones were insignificant?
For instance, taxes on real estate, VAT on real estate, VAT on medicine that we do not produce here, and all that. Taxes on so many of them, even including electricity, taxes on what do you call it?
Utilities.
Utilities. All of those were reduced. About 17 different taxes. We call them the nuisance taxes. But I'm saying that the current we have come to this level of actually increasing minimally this 20 pesos per liter as a result of something. We all know that we are in pandemic. We know the interventions that government came out with. Ajay was saying that nothing is free and all those things. In other jurisdictions, in other jurisdictions where we think that they dole out their monies for us, it is the taxes of those peoples that are used for us. So when government call on us to also sacrifice a bit, so that we can use that one for certain interventions, we should not cry. Where do you think that government will get the money to give free electricity, free water, and all those things? And even sometimes, give to industries to actually cushion them. We are talking about a situation, when I talk of the comparison between this government, between 2009 and 2012, average increase in petroleum was 29.5% annually. In 2013 between 2013 and 2016, the average increase was 24% annually. So we are talking about 29.5 and 24% under the NDC government. If you add them, you are going to get about 53, almost 54%. But from 2017 to 2000, the average increase in petroleum price increase is 8.26%. So you are talking about 8 years where the NDC government increased petroleum by 54%. And 4 years, the MPP government increased petroleum by just 8.2%, 26%. And let's even take it like another 8 years, another 4 years, because this is the beginning of the second term. Let's even take it like from now to the end of the Nanado regime, we are going to increase another 8%. We are only talking about 16% for 8 years. Compare that one to 54% of the previous government. That is the reason why I've told you that this is a government that is pro-business. Anything that this government will do, they will ensure that the interest of the businessman is at stake. They will not burden you beyond what you can, sustain or take. And for me, I think that sometimes, once in a while, you will need some of these interventions, some of these taxes. And this tax is what? Just for pollution and sanitation, and to ensure that excess capacity charges are taken care of.
I don't think that your assertion about the fuel increment is, I think it was around 27%, not 54%.
What 27%?
The percentage increase in fuel prices within the period you're talking about.
No, I'm telling you, I've given you the period. I mean, these are facts.
Yeah, but
if you go to the Ghana Statistical Service, if you go to even the Ministry of Energy,
but it wasn't 54%.
Between what time and what time?
But between the same period that you're talking
between
about.
Between what time and what time? That your figure
for the same period.
Oh, you just want to
in your analysis you said 8 years. That's what you said. So I'm saying that within the 8-year period that you're talking about, it wasn't 54%.
It's what?
27%.
Let me tell you, between 2009 and 2012, average increase is about 29.5% annually. That is 2009 to 2012. And then from 2013 to 2016, it increased by 24% annually. So if you are adding 24 plus 29.5, you are going to get 54, almost 54%, 53.9, which is 54%.
But you are calculating annually, right?
Yeah, annual
so
average increase.
The first average increase of the NPP is what?
The first year, there was a net decrease. We decreased fuel price.
You decreased fuel price?
Yes. When we came, we decreased it.
For the whole year period.
Yes.
But within that period that you came, you increased it about 4, 5 or
no, we are talking about nets.
Yeah, but what is net?
So
what is net?
Listen. When you decrease it first, and the quantum of decrease is higher than the quantum of increase, the nets, the difference is decrease. You see, I mean, some people, you might not get it.
I might not get it.
Yeah, because the way you are laughing.
No,
I'm sure because
you are talking about percentage increase.
I am communicating. You see, I'm communicating not only to you but the viewers.
Yeah, but the viewers must understand what you are saying.
No. I am saying
you are talking about net increase and net decrease.
Listen,
right?
Both of them can be added.
You are talking about gross increase and gross decrease.
No, not gross.
When you subtract, what you get is
listen.
That's what you are saying.
You listen. We are operating a regime of deregulation, where there is an interplay between supply. There are reasons why certain times there is increase.
Yeah.
We talk of the international price, petroleum,
absolutely,
crude oil prices. We talk of the prices of parts, spare parts, and all those things. And then, if they do it bi-weekly, that is every weekly. They review the prices every 2 weeks. And sometimes when the review comes, the prices are not increased. Sometimes the increase is marginally. Sometimes it's even reduced. So if you put all these things together, in the end, when there is increase, it means that there is what? Net increase. When there is decrease in the price from the previous price, it means that there is net decrease. This is all that net is about. So net doesn't mean that you are only talking about decrease. You are talking about both. When there is increase, and there is decrease. In the end, the difference will give you the net.
But
I'm saying
is the net is what you get.
Yes.
After your deductions from the gross. That's the point.
After deduction and increases.
Whether deduction and increases, what you get out of it is the
yes.
So it can be either negative or positive.
Yes, exactly.
Depending on the percentage. Right?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
If you do all of that, in fact, even in your own
NPP, that's what I'm saying. That for the first 2 years of NPP government, there was net decrease.
In your own NPP release, when you were criticizing Mahama, when you talked about the increases in utility prices, etc., the percentage-wise,
yes,
your conclusion in your own analysis was that petroleum prices had been increased. Petroleum prices, as at the end of 2015, was around 27%. So I don't know what you're talking about.
27% of what?
20% of what are we discussing?
No, you see, when you say 27%.
27% in terms of the increment. That's what I'm saying. That's what you are talking about. You are saying that. No,
I never mentioned 27%.
You said 54%, and I'm telling you that if you do the cumulative, because you are referring to the 8-year period of the NDC.
Yes.
And I'm saying that within the 8-year period that you are referring to, the percentage increase of fuel or petroleum prices was not 54%.
But where do you get your 27 from?
I am telling you that.
Where do you get your I'm giving you official figures, and you are telling me where do you get yours from?
I'm saying that.
Where do you get it? I'm giving you the 54%.
No, listen.
I am telling you that the first 4 years, the increase was 29.5. The second year or the second term of the NDC government, the increase was 24%. And then you are telling me what?
I am telling you that. Where do you get your figures from? Where do you get figures from?
You just want to engage me, so
no, I'm not engaging you.
Obfuscate the issues.
I'm not engaging you.
So then let me go.
I'm not engaging you. I'm saying that.
So then let me go.
I'm saying that I don't know where you got your figures from. Maybe unless you tell me where you got.
Go to Minister of Energy.
So share the link with me.
I will share it with you when I finish.
Now, please.
No. I mean, no. I will share it with you.
Okay, you go ahead.
I'll share it with you.
But I'll tell you 27%.
So please, Ghanaians should bear with us, especially as this government have demonstrated beyond every reasonable doubt that when it comes to increase, when it comes to taxes, we abhor taxes. We only bring taxes when it is necessary, when there is a need for it. And then this government just came out with a minimal amount of 20 pesos per liter. 20 pesos per liter. You know, and for me, there is no way anybody can say that, oh, you can govern without taxes. No government in history, not even the US anywhere, can say that for you can govern. Oh, I'm not saying anybody says so, but I'm saying that there is justification for these taxes that we are talking about, especially as everybody is in COVID situation. Other countries are also doing it. Apart from even increasing, apart from these taxes that we are talking about, there has been certain taxes that has also been reduced.
Which ones?
Just to ameliorate, the suffering of the.
Which ones?
I will show you.
And this one to which source?
I will show you those taxes. I mean, in the budget that we just.
The budget is your source.
The budget that was
just prepared by your party is your source.
I'm saying that the budget that is it not the same source that we are talking about?
But the budget is prepared by you people.
And then we are reducing.
So why is it that I gave you my figure, you want to discredit mine, but you want me to accept?
No, your figure you didn't.
Because your calculation of 54% does not add up. You are talking about
why is it not
about net increase.
Why is it not adding up?
Anyway, once you look for that document, let me come to Gabriela.
Why is it not adding up?
Once you look for that document, let me come to Gabriela. Once Gabriela is done, I've exceeded my time, but I'll just plead with my producers, just give me a little time. Gabi, let's hear you. Saka is saying that, albeit that, I've disagreed with him, but he says that you people increase fuel prices or petroleum prices by 54%.
Okay. You see, Kwame. No, you see.
I'll come to you, Saka.
Oh, no, you see.
Because of time.
You asked me.
No, I said look. No, I said look. Yes, I'll come back for that.
Small businesses will also enjoy the suspension of income tax stamp payment. Tax relief of 30% on corporate income tax to benefit hotels, restaurants, education, art and entertainment, as well as travel and tours sector.
Upper class.
A waiver of penalty and interest on accumulated tax arrears
upper class.
Up to December 2020 to reduce cash flow challenges. Will also target companies and individuals.
Upper class. Anyway, I mean, the ordinary Makola woman doesn't feel what you're. I mean, wouldn't feel what
now
you're
we have turned the whole thing to Makola market.
But they're not Ghanaians too.
Even if we increase fuel prices by 100%. As at December 2016, our fuel price was between 3 cedis 59 pesos to 3 cedis 75 pesos.
That is true.
What, liter or gallon?
Per liter.
Per liter. As at December 2020, when we were going for the elections, fuel price was now at 4 cedis 79 pesos.
4 years. So what is the increase for 4 years?
Oh, Saka, let her.
She's let her. The way it's
let her. I interject it. I will interject when I feel it's necessary.
It's now at 5 cedis 36 pesos. From the time we went for the elections to the graph we were showing, we've had increments to date. Kwame, if you look at the price build-up of fuel, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 taxes on petroleum products.
Who put them there?
Now we are adding another tax.
Who put the 12 there?
We are now adding.
The NDC put the 12 there.
We are now adding.
Gabi,
our 12 taxes ended us at 3 cedis 59 pesos to the consumer per liter.
Yes.
Now they are adding the Bola tax is called sanitation and pollution levy. Then they are adding excess capacity expenditure also on this. So they are increasing ESLA, I think 5% on this same product, which brings the tax element now. We are going to like 13 different taxes on all on petroleum products alone. Petrol.
Saka. Let her establish a point. I don't have time.
The increase is to take care of excess capacity.
The
It's not excess
increase-
capacity.
the cost of excess capacity. You are passing the cost
Can
of
you
excess
to
capacity
the consumer? Are you serious? You've got to borrow.
Go and innovate and get more
Lord.
people on the grid. Go and expand electrification projects across the country. Go and export the power. You
No,
don't
we're doing that.
know what to do, and you are
We're
sitting there,
doing that.
and then every single
We are going to
opportunity
100%
of
coverage. No, we are doing that.
make Ghana the energy hub of West
Yeah, we are
Africa.
making Ghana the energy hub.
Don't come and put the expenditure on the
Excess. So
people of
wait,
Ghana.
so the excess capacity, what we are not using, you want consumers to pay for it. So I know. So you want the Ghanaian who doesn't benefit to pay for it. Anyway, Gabella proceed. No, Saka. Yeah.
The Ghanaian is burdened by cost of living. The Ghanaian is burdened by every single day high expenditure. Next week, I don't know if you are aware, starting from next week, the price of bread is also going up.
Pure water has gone up.
Kenya has gone up. Pure water went up over the weekend.
But KK went up in
long
December.
Kenya went up in January.
In December, in my area.
The shortage started. Egg has gone up. Basic commodities that the ordinary Ghanaian lives on has increased. Incomes have not increased. And worse of it is that since the COVID pandemic, more people are now worse off. Times are hard for a lot of Ghanaians.
So COVID is a problem.
Now, but that's what you do all the time. Now, Kwame,
Proceed, yeah.
as we said, we all know that anytime there's an increase in fuel prices, it has an effect on producer price index, it has an effect also on inflation. Everybody bears their branch. Costs go up generally. Transport fares are going to go up. Already the transport unions are complaining that when they were introducing these new taxes on the petroleum products, they did not inform them. Government wants to inquire themselves as usual. Oh, we are cutting down, you're not paying your tax stamp, your quarterly tax stamp for the first half.
And so we have eliminated it.
Go and ask the drivers. On average, one driver pays 12 Ghana, 15 Ghana, 20 Ghana cedis per quarter for tax stamp. Compare that to the increase in the fuel prices when they go to the pump. And the fuel is the energy they use to run their transport businesses every single day. They lose more money from fuel price increments than from that quarterly tax stamp that they are going to pay. That quarterly tax stamp, 15 Ghana cedis they are going to pay. Considering how much they lose in the week because of increase in fuel prices, it's even more to them. So this if
So
this
when
thing
you
that
are,
you are,
we were not increasing
so
food.
this thing that you are
We just
yourself
told
every
you
single
about
day, we've called down
50%.
on tax stamp, so the people should start jubilating.
They should jubilate.
On tax stamp.
They should jubilate.
Thank you very much.
Kwame, I'm not finished.
Okay, all right, okay.
As we sit here,
Saka, let's allow her
I was
flow.
going through-
Okay.
I was going through the papers, and then the Ghana Association of Bankers, also in response to the financial sector cleanup tax of 5% on profits, the banking sector, after all their so-called magnificent cleanup, is calling. The banking sector needs liquidity to be able to push small businesses. You need to work on your interest rate regime. Bring down the interest rate so small businesses can go. Shut up. So the small businesses can go and access loans not at 28%. When people are bringing in money at
Interest rate is not
2%,
28.
3%.
Saka.
Kwame, let's be honest with ourselves.
You can
It's
be,
23.
look, if you don't know, maybe because you don't do business, that's why.
And the NDC, it was
So,
not
under your
Hold on,
government,
Saka, let her
under
make
your
her
government,
go.
sole proprietors businesses, the banks don't even want to give us money because we are considered high risk, sole proprietor. We should go and do limited liability before they will consider us. Kwame, now the banks are saying that they are also protesting against this 5% increase. When government was preparing this budget, did they not meet special groups to look at what is really going on in their industries before they came with this budget? They sat at Ministry of Finance between Kenoforiata and his gang of 5. Sat down and started writing. Today we are doing ABCD, EMGH. Dealers also complained the same thing. That nobody came to even ask them, how is the spare part business going? They come and tell them, we've reduced quarterly tax payment for you, so you should be able to make ends meet. Go and speak to the people.
So they don't want the tax.
Get an appreciation of what the various sectors are going to. Then you say you gave hoteliers and restaurants 30% tax holiday. Nobody's coming for their business. Already, they can't even make the monies to pay workers and run the business. It is the after-profit tax that you are holding for them that should also get them excited. Hey, you people, how do you govern?
So how about a situation?
You sit down
a situation,
in your
even
house,
how about a situation, even in their predicament? Even in their predicament, then certain government will still be taking the taxes from them.
Certain governments. The way things are, Saka, it is not taxation that the people need. What the people need is liquidity injection.
And all those
Saka,
which one?
We are doing dialogue.
Saka, I know you are doing the job of your party, but let's also make it
the covers that we all know, the covers that we all know you use to support your organizers. If you don't know anybody in the party at the district level, nobody is going to help you access covers. That's a stimulus plan. That is a stimulus plan that you give to the people.
Well, you're not done. Proceed. I'll give you 1 more minute.
Yes, you all have your thing. I have the
Saka, I think I even gave you more time than Hadia.
This government has a fair chance of imposing whatever. Of imposing.
Gabi, Gabi, you are making a very important point.
Of imposing things on the people.
Okay.
Without really listening to the people. And here is a typical example. I hope that Parliament, since they are starting the debate on the budget from today, will listen to the people, since they are the representatives of the people, and put it to the government that taxation is not what is going to get us out of the dollars.
Thank you.
The inefficiencies in expenditure, unplanned expenditure, overruns, investing in outrageous and necessary things like poverty reduction, when 60% of the money you put in useless things like toilets. I mean, when 80% goes to toilet, and we should be excited because we built toilets.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I see. I've never seen Gabriela this passionate in a long while. You see, you know, in the Ashanti Palace, they be here or Tumfono. Oh no, she's a sole proprietor, so the taxes are pigeon. They gave me rebates.
I still speak to a lot of people, and then they express their concern. A lot of people are struggling in their business.
I think that quite admittedly, businesses are really struggling. I mean, look, beyond politics.
We are not in normal time.
Beyond politics, businesses are struggling. It's not even about normal time. You see, a prediction, there was a prediction.
Let me
I don't know if you remember, even before coronavirus, there was a prediction.
By who?
That by the World Bank, but because of the way we were borrowing, if we didn't slow down, we're going to get to a certain point where the economy will crash, if you remember. So it is not just about coronavirus. I think we should be fair. We're all part of it. It's not because of your party. We're all part of it.
No, I mean,
mention the coronavirus.
Yeah.
One thing I don't understand is that if maybe somebody comes and he has coronavirus and he's a foreigner, they go and put them in a hotel. They have to pay. Why don't they allow the people to go to a hotel that they can afford?
So you go and be spreading it.
No,
you cannot.
No, wait. You let me finish.
Okay.
Is it La Palme Hotel is the only hotel? Please, look at their rates.
So which hotel do you suggest
You
we
no,
take them?
I'm saying that we should look at, it should vary.
Let me give you what is done.
You
Let me
understand? It should
explain to
vary.
you how it is done in Rwanda.
People who can pay higher should go to the higher
The people who trust. So for
And then,
instance,
you understand my point? Because all the hotels are suffering. It's not only the big hotels that are suffering.
no, in Rwanda.
Yeah, I get you, but you see, but they take into
hotel,
consideration.
But you won't come out of that hotel. Do you get it? They will tell you. They will ask you where you're going, and then they will make sure that a police officer, or whoever, escorts you to wherever it is that you're going. Once you enter your room,
you're not coming out.
that's it. So that's how they do it. They don't tell you that go to this hotel or go to that hotel or go to this hotel. I get Adjer's point.
That
it's
point is
also
that
very
it shouldn't
expensive.
be. It should be less expensive hotels
Absolutely.
and then the higher ones.
Yeah.
So that you have a choice.
Yeah. All right. Well, my time is up, but just because of the barbing is only exclusive to Hadja.
No, other. I also have one.
No other person will.
No,
speak.
I have one point there.
Hadja pleaded even before the show that he wants to really speak to this, and whatever it is that you say, I will support you. I don't know what you're going to say.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
You see, before this
You
publication,
politicize it,
what I'm saying is that because I've also done some cross-check about this thing, because it was on social media since yesterday.
Yeah.
Did this particular paper speak to Bagbin before bringing this
Good question.
Publication? Because one thing we should understand is that whether we like it or not, Bagbin is the third most powerful person in this country.
Bam.
We have the president, we have the vice president, the next is the speaker of parliament. You see, you can be looking for presidency, you don't get it, but you can get something that is closer to the presidency. You understand my point?
Yeah.
Bagbin himself came out with a statement, and that is what the paper captured.
So he came with a statement. Okay, fine. I think we should allow the speaker to be a speaker. You understand my point? So that he's serving Ghana, not any political party. Because if it's anything at all, it was a contest. You see, it's a contest, and he won. Meanwhile, NPP has 137, NDC have 137, and they independent. As soon as he becomes a member of the NPP, then there will be a by-election according to the law. According to the law. So please, stop saying that he's a member of the NPP, else there will be a by-election in this country. And he'll lose the second deputy speakership of that listen. You sack him. You sack him from the party. Who brought him back? Please, let me do. So please, let's give Bagbin the space to act professionally, independent, so that we'll have a non-biased speaker of parliament.
Thank you.
And then we should learn to respect our leaders. Those babies with sharp teeth, they should be very, very careful. You don't just call somebody's name and then... after all, when they went to vote for the ministers, was Bagbin there? Even the minority leader and the chief whip, were they there? If they have decided to go and vote for the people, you don't single out this 3 people and just run them down like that. Meanwhile, when they were... Bagbin has been in parliament from 1990. 1993. You understand? You see. So please,
let's the inception of the Fourth Republic.
Let's not try to ridicule our leaders.
Right.
That is why before I end this thing, we were calling on the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to withdraw those books that seem to divide this country and paint people, great leaders, people who fought for this country, build this country within 9 years. Take away the 9 years of Dr. Nkrumah's achievement and there will be nothing to show.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Haji Hamdatu Ibrahim.
If you can say, sister, yes,
thank you.
Any development apart from, I have the right to say...
Who said that? Who said you will ever see him?
Thank you.
You didn't hear?
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure serving you this morning. Saka, thank you very much. Gabriela, thank you very much. Hajia, thank you very, very much for coming on the show. Now, so finally, these taxes, something must be done. Saka, you can't pick a call on my show.
Jamila and Monica Kong sent a message to you. That she said,
as for Jamila, me and her, we are fighting.
oh, please.
Monica Kons, we are also fighting.
Hey, Monica Kong.
Yeah, both of them. I'm fighting them seriously.
They said a shout out to you.
Me, I won't take the shout out. I won't take it. I won't take it.
For my sake, please take it.
I'll take half. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Do have a pleasant day. Bye-bye.